I don't remember if I'd ever really showed this before, but I sized that trough pretty well. So that's an entire 50-pound bag of mineral right there. And it fits in there pretty good. It'd be better if this was just a little bit bigger because they spill a little bit of it when it's fresh like this. They'll waste just a little bit of it. And that, mineral is one of my biggest expenses as far as just operating costs. Mineral, feed, and vet bills really are my expenses, and water right now because I'm watering out of that Dewar. Those are kind of my continuing expenses. Everything else, you buy a trailer, stock trailer. Well, now I've got it, so it's just a one-time expense. So yeah, it's real expensive up front, but that's going to pay for itself. I mean, it's already paid for itself, having that out here, being able to haul cows. So I hauled the 14 from the cell out here, and then I hauled 16 of them today. So that's already been useful, and I've had to take a cow to the vet, so got a trailer for that. I've got another one's got to go to the vet, and so if I get the vet to come out here, that's a $100 bill every time he sets foot on my land, upcharge just for coming out here and doing a farm call. So four-wheeler may have just run out of gas. Maybe it just died. So that's, once I get this other one to the vet, that'll be $200 that saved me right off the bat. So I still have to pay, obviously, the vet fees, but you're going to pay that in addition to the $100 farm call fee. So, if I had to pay that guy that I bought these from to haul all of those, that would have been probably $300 to $400. So I gave him a $100 bill for his gas to get the load down here that he did. And that saves me a trip, and that's about what it would cost me anyway, there and back trips. Having to do that 3 times would have cost me an extra $100 versus having to do it only twice, so, or close to it anyway. And then plus, I kind of mentioned it the other day, but it just puts wear on my tires and my truck and my trailer and stuff like that. So that's one less trip that all of my equipment had to make. That was one less trip of fuel cost I don't have to spend, so well worth that to me. But if I'd had to have him come out here for all 3 loads, that would have gotten a lot more expensive, and nice to have a trailer where I can do that myself. So stuff like that, one-time expense. Stuff like this though, mineral, this is every day. I mean, they're going through a bag of this every week easily. Usually 2 bags, closer to 2 bags, maybe like a bag and a half a week worth of mineral. And then they go through with this 20% feed that I'm giving them. They need about a pound per head per day. So that's 50 pounds a day worth of feed. So that is that bag, basically, that I have to get put out here for them. And that's just what they need to stay healthy in these winter months. So that gets expensive. This stuff is about $9 a bag here. And so that kind of sucks. It adds up real fast. So let me see if I can walk over here closer to these girls. I'll show them to you. So those are my big expenses. So any little bit of spilt mineral, I guess kind of got off on a tangent there. Any spilt mineral sucks to see. Like, it's like, maybe that was $1. But if they do that every single time, then, after a couple of weeks, that's like $10, $15, $20. It's like, well, that's a whole bag of mineral that's on the ground over the course of time. So the feed that I'm feeding has some mineral supplement mixed into it. Just kind of... but it's added in there just for them. It's fortified, right? Like when you buy cornflakes, it says it's fortified with iron and stuff like that. Same type of thing with these pellets. They're not pure protein and fat. They've also got some mineral in them, and so that makes them more expensive. But it also means that I can buy a little bit cheaper mineral. And so I study carefully the ingredients and the parts per million or percentages and stuff on the mineral. And I think what I've got out here is a good balance. That the mineral, even though it's got like a little bit less phosphorus in it, for instance, but there's phosphorus in the feed, and you can get mineral with a higher vitamin A content, but the feed also has quite a bit of vitamin A in it already. So a little bit cheaper mineral, but then again, it's more expensive feed, so it really balances itself out. But that mineral's like $14 a bag, I think. I should know. I just bought some. I took the receipt out of my pocket. But anyway, here's these girls. So they are all set to start calving in March, right around the 1st of March, is when we should start seeing calves out of them, and then for about 70 to 90 days afterwards. And talking to the guy that I bought them from, he's got a pretty good track record on his timing. That's the timing that he gave me, but he's got a pretty good track record on getting that right, and that's because he's bought them and then held the bull off of them until he wanted. So he has intentionally timed them to be spring calves, is what I'm trying to say. So he's held his bulls off of them until that timeline lines up, and then that's when he exposes them to the bulls. And so he pretty well knows when they're all bred. And he had 4 bulls on this group. It's not just the 26 that I bought. He had a whole bunch more out there. And so with 4 bulls, like he can know, if he puts them all out there, he'll pretty well know that they're all bred, within, like I said, that couple months time frame there, 2 to 3 months. So check them out. So these two, they're following me around just like a lot of the other ones do. They've been with me for several weeks now, or for several months for some of them. And these ones are already following me around. So that's cool. They're not super afraid of me. So some of them less so. Some of them are, not quite as happy about me, but they'll figure it out. So pretty cool. So that's just one time of feeding them, and they already kind of trust me. So, man, I love that. I mean, you almost can't put a price on the cow's demeanor. If it's a good demeanor, they're so much easier to work with. I've got that one over there, 115. Talked about her before. I don't like her. Now these ones, I don't have some of. If they're standing next to my Baldies, you notice that all of these are a little bit smaller framed, and I like that personally. So that's a good thing for me. I think, anyway. So I'm kind of doing that on purpose, looking for smaller framed calves or cows. And so that's because they need a little bit less feed input, so I can have more of them here, which will increase my calf numbers, if that makes sense. So calves will be a little bit smaller, but it works out better that way. If I have, say I'm able to hold 60 or 70 cows out here that are these smaller framed ones, as opposed to only 50 that were like 1,500 pounds cows or something like that. These all weigh right around 1,000, I think. So if I had 1,500 pound cows, maybe I could have 50 of them, whereas I could have 60 or maybe closer to 70 of these little bit smaller ones. So that just means, 10 to 15 more calves that I can end up taking to market. They don't sink in the mud quite as deep either, which is a huge deal out here. So you guys have seen my mud. It sucks. It's horrible. So smaller cows are a little bit easier on the land. And the way I like to think about it, I don't know if I've said this before, but I try to think of it like I'm a grass farmer that's using animals to maintain the grass. And so, real big animals that are real heavy and they're just churning the ground up too much, well, that's not good for the grass. It's, tilling it too much. It's like, I want them to kind of aerate and kind of cultivate manure in and to fertilize the ground, but I don't want them to be basically a rototiller running through, right? So that's no good. If you had a nice fescue lawn or a Bermuda lawn, you might aerate it, you would fertilize it, but you wouldn't run a rototiller through it all day, every day. And so that's kind of, those big animals are kind of like that. When it's muddy out here, they just tear everything up, and then you end up with soup, and that's not going to grow good grass in the spring. It'll take into the summer before that recovers. And that's not good. That's a little bit of forage and basically feed at the end of the day that I don't have in the spring. So smaller animals to me is a good thing. A lot of the ones that I bought at the sale, you can see they're kind of the same size, about 1,000 pounds or so. The exceptions being that big orange Charolais. She's a little bit bigger. She's probably 13, maybe 1,400 pounds. And that big white Charolais that's got a calf on the ground, she's probably a 12 to 13 pound or 1,300 pound animal. The ones that I bought off of that first guy over in Tahlequah, those first 11 that I got, they're mostly probably right around 1,000 pounds. Some of them may be closer to 11, and the Baldies, they're a little bit bigger. So I guess they're probably 1250, something like that. And that's okay. That's not a huge problem, but I prefer these smaller ones. So anyway, I'm super happy with them. More of them off that way. So that's most of my original herd. When they heard the four-wheeler running around, they all herded up over there. And all these ones that don't know what that means yet, they stayed up here. They're kind of over by the camper. I drove out here and banged on a bucket and stuff, and they got the picture. So hopefully within a week or so, I'll have them trained and they'll come up just like all the other ones. While I was up there, I got some good kind of tips and tricks from the guy I bought these from. He had a style of trough that I really like. It's super simple, so I'm going to build some of those. I'll bring you along with that when I do. And he had protein tubs out too, instead of doing cubes like I've been putting out. And so he's still out there feeding hay all the time, but the protein tubs are self-feeding. They're just always out there. So I've been looking into that. They're really expensive. I think I would need at least 2 of them out here for these 51 cows. 3 would probably be better. And the good ones that have the higher mineral or the higher protein content and have enough mineral in them. So that's the cool part. I guess I should start with that. Is that they look like they're pretty much a full mineral package, all in one in that protein lick. And so I wouldn't have to buy mineral. Like I just said, protein and mineral, those are my 2 big expenses. If I could consolidate those down into one thing, then that might work out better. So I've been pricing stuff, looking around at what's available to me locally. Went up to Tractor Supply in Muskogee the other day and looked at some. I wasn't real impressed with them though, what they had. They were cheaper ones, and I don't think that's what I need, so I'm gonna keep looking. And then he also gave me a great trick that I have not tried yet, but I'm sure it will work, for unrolling those hay bales. And I don't know why I didn't think of this, but he said what he's done in the past, and he's got a cool little Dewey's thing. It's like a little arm, that picks up the hay bale and puts it on the back of a flatbed truck, and then you just lay it down and drive, and it's got things that spin. That's how he unrolls them now. But before he had that, he would just drive a big piece of cows are tearing up four-wheeler. Drive a big piece of rod through the center of the hay bale, and then put a rope around it and just drag it that way with the tractor, and that'll unroll it. So get them off the four-wheeler before they tear something up. Hopefully this starts. It's not that far, but I don't want to carry a gas can all the way out here. So anyway, though, so I'm going to try that bale unrolling technique next time I need to unroll one. Yeah, so these ones have never seen the mineral trough before, so they don't know what that is. Looks like one of them's already figured it out. Girls, leave the four-wheeler alone. I did not park it in that hole. They pushed it. Alright, let me see if this will start. And I got to go get the rest of that feed out of the pins and get that put up. And I'll come back to you here in a minute if I got anything else. You just missed it. That black one was just devouring the mineral, though. What is going on here? '78, you're standing real funny here for a second. What are you doing? Pooping? No? That was weird. Anyway, okay, get this four-wheeler started. Well, four-wheeler's out of gas. Sad part is, I looked at the gas can before I drove off just a few minutes ago and thought, I should probably top this off. It's been a few weeks, and I didn't. I drove out here, I thought I had to be alright. I gotta walk out here and get a gas can. Fortunately, I'm not too far from a camper, so that's where the gas can is. Anyway, Live and learn. So I mentioned before that cows really like this clover. Look at this. You can tell there are no leaves left, hardly, on all this clover. Whole big patch. They ate all of it. So one of the first things they went after, it looks like. All over here too. Hardly any of this has any leaves left on it. So this used to be a really tall, thick clover patch. Now it's all ate down. So it's kind of funny. So tomorrow is that big auction. I went to it last month. I'm gonna go again. My dad's gonna go this time as well. But if you can find these old school gas cans. What's that? Man, they're a good investment. This one's extra cool. It's got the spout is on, you see that? It's on an angle, and so I can just kind of set it up here and it drains itself. It's got a vent on it. It actually works the way gas cans should. So pick those up anytime you see them. Companies aren't allowed to make them anymore, so they get more and more rare. Anyway, auctions, one of the things they're good for. So here I am griping about all this mud and all the water everywhere. And then I go and leave the dewar filling for too long and make a giant mud puddle. That actually really sucks because they're going to destroy this ground right here where it's all wet. I did the same thing last night. I caught it a little bit sooner this time. Look at her go. Anyway, they make some products to keep your water fresh, but it seems like in my case, I'm not going to have to worry about that because they eat it fast enough that it's just going to get refilled every day anyhow. If I say eat it, they drink it. They don't eat the water. Look at that. That is a lot of cows. How cool is that? One more thing I forgot to mention while I was standing over here by the mineral trough. So you can see these all, it came right over and they're all real thirsty. And that's because they plowed into that mineral when I put it out for them. So when they do that, that means that they're real salt hungry. Once they kind of get satisfied with it, they'll slow down on it. But all of these new ones and some of the other ones, like say here's number 15. 15 was eating like mouthfuls of it, like a little shovel of mineral. They don't usually eat it that way because it doesn't taste very good, but it's got salt in it, and they like that. So I didn't see salt anywhere out on his land, the guy that I bought these from. And I don't think that's really a problem because it's mixed into their feed and into those protein tubs that he had out there, I think. So I don't think they were actually deficient, but they were certainly salt hungry when they got out here. But I don't know if that's really a problem. So I got to look into that a little bit more. Just kind of something I noticed. So for those of you out there who know more about this, let me know what you think. You know, is that a bad sign that they're real salt hungry, or is that just because they've been getting their salt from a different source? And I'm pretty sure, like I said, those protein tubs have enough salt and magnesium and phosphorus and selenium and vitamins and everything in it that they need. So I don't think they're actually deficient. They certainly don't look it. They're nice and fleshy and filled out. I don't know how well that comes over on the camera. Sometimes it's kind of hard to, tell. Like if you look at, this one versus she's way over there. I got that old one that I was just looking over here. If you think about, these compared to what she looked like when I was closer to her over at the mineral trough, that orange Charlet, she's just not quite as fleshed out as these girls are. So they look really good. They look really healthy, and I'm not particularly worried about them. Just interesting, though. Interesting. Just like I said, if you have any ideas on that or experience, let me know. I'm curious what the best thing to do here is as far as feeding protein and mineral in the wintertime. So best for them and most cost effective for me. So anyway, let me know. Just thought I'd point something out. In this video I talk a little bit about like some kind of philosophy, I guess, of raising cattle. And I just wanted to point out that I'm directly kind of plagiarizing somebody else's ideas on this. This isn't my idea. And specifically I talked about how the mentality, it's a good idea to think about it as being a grass farmer, basically. And not the fun kind of grass, but just normal grass like cows eat. But you know, if you think about yourself as a grass farmer and you're using the cattle to maintain that grass, I think that's a cool philosophy and kind of mentality to have, because if you have good healthy grass that has all the nutrients your animals need, then that's going to save you money in feed, and it's going to make you a more successful rancher. And these ideas are coming directly from a guy named Greg Judy, so I'll give him a shout out. Just thought I should point that out, kind of cite him, I suppose, because it's his ideas. I just like them, and I'm going to be parroting them quite a bit throughout the next few years, I imagine. And so I like his idea of rotational grazing, which is what I'm going to try to do, and I've talked about that before. We're right over here somewhere. I'm going to put another permanent fence across that way. That way I can run temporary fencing and make smaller paddocks for rotational grazing. And I'll be rotating mine once a day because I also have a full-time day job. So he rotates his cows twice a day though. And he's running something like 300 head of cattle on, I think like 1,600 acres of land, leased and owned. He's on YouTube though, and he does seminars all over the country and stuff. If you're interested in kind of where I'm getting some of my ideas and the ideas for the way I'm trying to do things around here, go check him out. Cool dude, got a lot of good information out there. So just wanted to cite him. Thanks. Okay, explain this to me. I walk over to get gas for the four-wheeler, and somehow my bucket ends up way over here. What the? I almost couldn't find it because the grass is real tall. That's number 15 here is really friendly. I like that. Anyway, crazy animals. Ran off with my bucket. So, 56 here, she's pretty friendly too. Alright, I'm going to go get everything put up, and then we may drive out here and look at them just a little bit more, but I think I'm going to lose the light. So, what's up? Can I pet you? No, not quite. Not quite that friendly. So this will probably be it for this video. And see you guys next time. This one looks like her milk bag's dropping. Just noticed. That's cool. She's an older cow. That one's 6, I believe. Yeah, milk bag's starting to fill up. So cool. We're gonna have 2 more Charolais calves, I think. I mean, there's this crazy one. Let's see if I can show you. See that? No. She turned the other way. Number 8. Trying to make a YouTube video. Would you mind? She won't hardly let me walk around her. Let's see if she gets nervous. Turn around now. Perfect. Well, I don't know if you can see that or not. Her milk bag's dropping as well, which kind of sucks because she's the crazy one. So she's about to get even crazier, I imagine. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you guys next time.